Great day, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me for Lunchtime Love here in Selflessly Selfish, our private Facebook group just for women to be inspired, encouraged, and empowered. I am Natasha L. Brown, holistic advocate and healing evangelist. I am also the creator of New Peace Wellness, which was created in 2006. We are in our 15th year. This is our 15th year. In holistic health and wellness, teaching women how to reverse illness in the body and to live a selflessly selfish life. So, the entire being is what we work toward, aligning and making sure you can experience what it feels like to be whole, to be well, to experience what you were created to be by God, that entirely holistic, divine, aligned woman. All right, so this week you are in for a treat. We are going to stop living in survival mode. And I am not sure what that means to you. So, in the comments, whether live or in the replay, and if you comment in the replay, just put hashtag replay after your comment. And that way I will know that you were here. And you can always say hello or just put in replay. So, what we want to do is give me your definition, always your definition, unless I ask for, a textbook definition. Thank you for the love. But your definition of survival mode, living in survival mode. My definition of survival mode would be doing something because you absolutely have to do it in order to survive. Not necessarily that you want to do it, and sometimes it's temporary things that we do in order to make sure that we are getting things done. And then sometimes we get into a mode where we've done it so long that we get stuck there, which is a bad thing because you begin to survive in that state and it's very stressful. So, what do you think is doing to your body? Nothing positive. It's not a healthy state to be in. So, again, as always, I did some research. I looked at a few articles. There were many articles. There were some great tips that were consistent and all. And, you can say you have not experienced survival mode, but after last year, 2020, most people have experienced it. So if you weren't prepared before everything started shutting down, before you were told you had to stay in the house, then that became survival mode because you had to find out ways to get things. And maybe you were not someone that was technically savvy, or you didn't do a lot of shopping online and you had to start doing a lot of shopping online. So maybe you didn't have enough water in the house. I know in areas of the South where you don't get a lot of quote unquote winter weather, if someone announces on television that it looked like it may snow, it doesn't even have to be tomorrow. It could be a couple of weeks from now. All the bread, the milk, would be considered staple items if you eat those items. Even toilet paper, water, just many things. The shelves would be bare in the stores, right? And what's always interesting to me is sometimes people get things that they wouldn't normally eat, wouldn't normally use, wouldn't normally shop for. Survival mode, right? Why was everyone taking up all the toilet paper? Survival mode. Why would all the shelves be bare? Survival mode. We don't know how long we're going to be locked in the house, so we want to make sure we have what we need. And you still, if you pay attention to people's carts in the store, some people are still shopping the same way when they go to the store. And maybe they're just coming out every couple of weeks, then that's fine. But some people are hoarding things because they've gotten into the routine of doing so. So survival mode can be very stressful. Let's see. From one of the article, it says, turns out there's a way to get ourselves out of this stressful mode and to get our lives back. Some people don't want their lives back. They may want a better life, right? So what is it that you're looking to do as far as your life is concerned? Some great steps would be to first make a game plan, whether it's a health issue, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever the issue may be. Find out what it is that you want to do. What is the big picture? What is the overall picture? Once you find that out, then that is going to be the direction that you're going to go into, which is going to make a lot of sense once you begin to break that down. Also, you want to get into a place where you write down what exactly is going on and what you want the outcome to be, right? What you want the outcome to be is always going to be the focus. Then you want to prioritize the list by figuring out first steps in going in order. What is it going to look like? Because if it's a health issue, depending on whether you're working with a medical professional or a naturopath, they're going to give you some things that you're going to need to do in order to get to the result that you're looking for. Once you do these things, you'll get this result. So, are you willing to do X, Y, and Z in order to get the outcome that you're looking for? Sometimes people are, and sometimes people are not. So, it makes a big difference what your mindset is. Looking at the big picture may be overwhelming, so making sure that you go about breaking down what you need to do, what you're willing to do, and even evaluate and reevaluate. I say that all the time because we make a plan. If it's not working, sticking with a non-productive plan is survival mode, right? You're doing something that's not working for your good to get to an outcome that you desire. So breaking it down and doing what you need to do so you're not overwhelmed by trying to lose 30 pounds. What are the steps that I'm going to do to lose those 30 pounds? First, I'm going to find someone that's going to hold me accountable, some type of coach, whether holistic, life, a weight loss coach, whatever you're wanting to do is a coach for that, basically. So ladies, again, as you are coming in, give me your personal definition of what it is to be in survival mode. What is it to be in survival mode? So with the weight loss, once you have the coach, then you let the coach know what your goals are. What you're doing now is always a good thing to look at. And then once you've looked over all of that, they'll give you a plan as to how you're going to move forward. Once you get that plan, are you willing to do the work? And many are not willing to do the work, regardless of what the situation is. But if you have a good accountability partner or a good coach, they're going to hold you accountable until you say, okay, right now I can't do this anymore. I'll pick it back up later, but I can't do this anymore. Instead of just having you lingering and continuing to say you're going to do something and you really are not going to do something, okay? So once you've made that plan, once you get the plan together and you have steps laid out and you have scheduled your plan, put yourself on a schedule, an actual schedule, time, slot, and everything, so that you know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. As you begin to get out of survival mode and get that plan going so that you can see what it is going to look like, then there are a few other steps that you want to do. One thing, you want to make sure you stay connected, and not just virtually or social media wise, but staying connected with yourself personally, as well as with those that you love and you know support you. When you are connected, that connection, it definitely helps relieve some of that stress. It's a great way to relieve the stress, because especially if you're with those that are aware, they are going to challenge you on how you feel. Survival mode could be the fact that every time someone asks how you're doing, you're saying, I'm good, I'm well, whatever your go-to saying is, whether you feel that or not. But someone that knows you, that is aware, awake, and they are paying attention, they are going to challenge you. How are you really feeling? And sometimes that second, how are you feeling, is when you can get a true answer. Sometimes it may take more than two, but being able to be persistent enough to find out the truth behind how a person really feels. Exercise is always a great way to clear your mind and to make sure that you have the focus that you need which is always a great thing to do because of the simple fact that it helps the mental body as well as the physical body. It helps the emotional body because it is definitely always prescribed for those with depression. Because you don't feel like it doesn't mean you don't need to do it. Also, you want to make sure you are being kind to yourself. That self-love, that self-compassion is always a beautiful thing. Do something you love. Do something for you. You can do it solo or you can do it with someone that inspires you, encourages you. But do something that is going to show you that you love you. Okay? Also, you want to practice breathing. On YouTube, I have a breathing video that I did a while ago because of what's going on with the mask. We're not breathing fully from our bellies. Most of us breathe shallow, and from our chest, we're not conscious of breathing. We just do it. But when you take time to sit or even stand, but sitting is going to help you be more conscious. With your feet flat on the ground and your back up against the chair, you are going to more so focus on your breathing than not. It's a great way to put yourself to sleep if you're having issues with sleeping because you're focusing on something. And as you focus on that deep breathing, you will begin to calm yourself. I listened to a podcast and he was talking about the truth behind the coronavirus and why people are actually getting sick. He was talking about how the stress breaks down the immune system. And once we are stressed and the immune system is broken down, it's easier to get sick. And not necessarily just with the coronavirus, but your body is open to any illness just to get you into a state of calm and relaxation. When you say being sick is not calming, your body is able to rest because most times if you get sick enough, you're going to get in the bed, you're going to rest, you are at least going to slow down and give your body an opportunity to do what it needs to do. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is the best time for the body to recover, but are we willing to go to bed on time? If you can get into the bed by 9:30, not be asleep, just get into the bed by 9:30, start a breathing routine. And if you don't have any and you don't want to go on YouTube and get one, just listening to yourself breathe deeply from your belly. Taking a deep breath in, holding it for a little while, and then breathing out through your mouth. And doing that several times consciously, you're going to begin to clear your mind. You're going to begin to relieve that stress. Your body is going to begin to align and regulate and do what it needs to do in order to move forward. But the breathing is going to be a great help. And sometimes you can do that during the day. It works well, especially if you get into a stressful situation and you feel yourself getting upset. Just stop and breathe. You can stop and take 3 deep breaths and then respond. It might save someone's life, right? Also, with the coming out of survival mode, we want to reframe whatever the situation is that may feel or look overwhelming. Reframe it the way it really looks versus how you see it. And sometimes you may have to pull someone in that knows what you're going through and have them give you some feed forward on what it looks like. So reframe the way you look at your life. Not everything that's going on around you, but your life. What's draining you? Who's draining you? Which situation's draining you? Sometimes that is the cue as to needing to move to another career. If the job has become too stressful or your work has become too stressful, it's time for you to move on. Many don't want to do that, especially if you build relationships. Relationships sometimes keep us in survival mode, especially on jobs or even in a church or religious organizations or clubs. Anything with groups of people where we've become friends with them, as if we can't remain friends once we stop doing those particular things. If it's a situational relationship, you'll soon find out after you resign from whatever you're doing with a particular group of people, even a place of employment. But if it's a true friendship or relationship, then you'll be able to move forward with that person. So definitely don't be afraid to test it, but reframe it. Look at your life, review your life, evaluate and reevaluate your life. Where are you and where do you want to be? If you don't have a life plan, you may not know whether you're on track for what you have in mind or not right now. But seriously, take a look at your life. Make a list of things that drain you, things that energize you. Stick with the things that energize you. Figure out how to eliminate or readjust those things that may be draining you. Some people you just have to stop talking to altogether if you're not able to assist them. There are some people that are very stressful for me, and I have to be strategic as to when I speak to them. And in doing that, it helps me maintain my energy, as well as if there is a situation that I need to assist them with, I am able to do so. Okay? So keep those things in mind. Um, you really can't see what's going on until you actually make that list, because there may be things that you don't even immediately think about. But as you start writing the list out, getting a writing utensil and paper, you will begin to see what's really draining you. So based on the list, make the changes you need to bring more peace and less stress into your life. More peace and less stress into your life. So we're always apt to peace instead of stress, because the body is able to heal and respond better to situations when we are in a calm state, when we are in a peaceful state. And another thing you can do is listen to your body. Listening to your body is always a great thing, but if you don't ever take time to be quiet, you won't hear what your body is saying. You'll be medicating those signs and symptoms that may be leading you to a larger situation, right? And someone asked me, she was telling me how she had a migraine and she was just making so many mistakes on a project that we were working on. And she said, have you ever had migraines? And I said, yes, I've experienced migraines, but there are many things that you can do to avoid the migraines so that you don't have to experience them. Some people get them like clockwork. But if you listen to your body, you should know when they're coming, what is happening, what foods may be triggering it, what situations, what people could be triggering it. And she was asking me how I dealt with my migraines, is I think what she asked me. I said, well, I divorced my migraine. And once I divorced my migraine, I had not had any. And it was a literal divorce. I was getting really sick and the doctors could not diagnose most things, which it had to do with me going through a divorce. And the divorce became very stressful. So I was getting migraine headaches. So, typical doctors give you the standard informational sheets or pamphlets and they think it's fine. But those things were not my issues. They have certain foods that you should avoid, getting proper rest, avoiding, direct sunlight first thing in the morning, just all kinds of things. But when you find out that it's a person, place, or thing and you can get rid of it or avoid it altogether, whatever you have to do in order to possess wellness, that's what you should be doing. That is being selflessly selfish. That is showing self-love, self-care, and self-compassion to yourself. When you take time to find out what it is you enjoy versus what is stressing you out, what is making you feel bad, what is draining you to the point that you cannot be productive, all great things that you need to be doing. So always keep those things in mind. Listen to your body. During your devotional time is a beautiful time to listen to your body. During a time of meditation is a time to listen to your body. Instead of medicating those symptoms, find out what's causing those symptoms and go from there. Again, you probably need a good coach in order to do that. All right, so listen to your body. Also, you want to listen to what your inner critic is telling you. And many of us are harder on ourselves than anybody else is ever going to be. So definitely keep those things in mind when you begin to listen to the inner critic. All right. So your inner critic is going to be that voice that's usually the voice that's always keeping us from doing what we need to be doing. You shouldn't be doing that. Why are you doing that? It is just the voice that stifles creativity, the voice that stifles moving forward and doing what we need to do, that voice that is always nagging us about something. So the voice in your mind that you listen to on a regular basis, who does it sound like? Is it positive? Is it negative? What does it actually sound like? So what are you constantly telling yourself? What do you say to yourself when you look yourself in the mirror? When you look yourself eye to eye in the mirror in the morning, what is it that you're saying to yourself? Is it positive or is it negative? Is it pointing out all of your physical flaws or is it loving on every part of itself, right? Is it screaming that you have to do a particular thing when that is actually keeping you in survival mode? The fear of not doing or the fear of doing. And we talked about the fear of success once before. So all of that. And sometimes we have to get that negative critic out of our head and rewrite what we hear. So taking, you got wrinkles under your eyes, over your eyes, crow's feet, whatever it is. Create an affirmation on how beautiful your eyes are, how beautiful your face is. Find a way to make whatever that negative critic has been saying into a positive and begin to rehearse that until you can reframe what your critic is saying. Now, if your critic is saying, you didn't do your best and you didn't do your best, then that's not negative. That's pushing you in the right direction. Do your best. Don't just do something to be doing something. All right. Also, another step you can utilize is to release fear. Fear is very dangerous because fear is usually fear is imaginary. It's something that we make up to not do something, that we make up so that we don't have to be successful, that we imagine a situation instead of having that hard conversation, right? So release the fear. Visualize is another good one, and you can definitely do that during your devotional time. Live and believe you can save yourself. And saving yourself, I know I went through a point where there were many, many books that the Lord directed me to. YouTube wasn't as popular then, but audiobooks, many audiobooks that I would be referenced to. And then as I listened to the particular audiobooks, they would mention another book and that would take me somewhere else. So all of that has a lot to do with saving yourself. Having a good mentor is another way to begin to save yourself. But do what's best for you. Do what's going to take you in the right direction. Do what's going to work for you and that's going to show you the love that you need in order to do what you need to do, right? And ladies, as you're coming in, and I'll be closing soon, but still, let me know what the survival mode mean to you or look like to you. Either one, your personal definition, not something that you have to look up. So the steps again, and let me go back over here, were to connect with yourself as well as with others and off of social media as well as outside of doing something virtual. Connect in person with someone, even if you have to do it outside to make you feel comfortable. Exercise is another good one. Being kind to yourself. Breathe, taking deep breaths. Reframe your life. See it differently. Listening to your body. Listening to your inner critic and correcting those things that are not true. Just turn it into an affirmation. Releasing fear. Visualizing. Vision boards have become popular again. So visualizing, Pinterest is what I use instead of making an actual board. So when I'm out and there's something I see that maybe I want to add to a board, I can. Or just to remind myself and encourage myself, I can pull that up without having to actually carry a physical board with me, right? Live and believe you can save yourself. Have you been directed towards that is self-improvement? We should be doing some type of self-improvement on a daily basis. What have you been directed to recently that will change your life, but you are saying you're too busy to take time to read it, to take time to watch it, to take time to listen to it? Pull that out and get started going in the right direction with those things. Personal development is vital to developing personally, right? So, what does survival mode look like to you? I want you all to comment on that, whether in the replay or whether in your here live. Give me a definition of what that means to you personally, and let me know how you have gotten out of survival mode. I know once I've realized that I've been in survival mode on many occasions, what has helped me is acknowledging that I have been there, I am there, and being able to know what I need to do in order to move forward. And again, making that plan. You know the big picture, but breaking it down into steps that you can move forward in order to get out. When I was in debt, I took one of the debt elimination plans. I worked the steps, and they were broken down into small steps. So I worked those steps. Once I began to work those steps, resources that I needed became available, different organizations that would help you do different things. And the money began to appear in order for me to get out of debt. And then once I was able to do all of that, then the recovery of credit was steps to do that. So finding out what the issue is, getting out of the mindset that you have to stay there, and then making sure you work on the steps that you have put together or that you work with a coach in order to put together so that you can get to where you want to be, right? So now this is International Women's Month history. We're women every day. As women, especially in this group, there are many, many, many phenomenal women in this group that are making a change and a difference in their life as well as the lives of others on a regular basis. So there may be some things that we do, but most of the majority of what I want you to keep in mind is to live your best life daily. What does that look like? What do you need to do in order to get there? All of those things are vitally important to you coming out of survival mode. Because if you can realize that you loving you is worth loving you, then you can begin to love others on a whole different level. Right? All right. And ladies, if you have not, I mentioned this on Sunday during our prayer and encouragement. I have my journal has been pre-released. I did a presentation on Saturday at an expo, and I was able to share some information. It has affirmations in it. It also has pages so that you can journal your thoughts and whatever you want to journal. Many people ask me, what should I journal? Whatever you want, your dreams, your fears, where you are now, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, what you're going to do, whatever it is that you want to do in order to get to the next step. That's a great place to write out your steps in order to be successful. If you write poetry, it's a good place to write your poetry in. But whatever, it's no restriction on what you should and can journal. Journal whatever is going to make you happy. So it's a holistic healing journal, and it's supposed to be used for the healing of the body, the mind, and the spirit. So you can go to natashalbrown.com NatashaLBrown.com, and you can begin to, thank you, Bestie. You can begin to order those, and we'll do an official release probably in my birth month, next month in April. We'll do an official release, but I do have a few copies. Like I said, I did a presentation over the weekend on it, so I have some, and you can be one of the first ones to get it before it goes public, right? So B, I am excited about it. I am so grateful for everyone that has already purchased and started journaling. And I look forward to hearing some life-changing testimonies about the journaling process. And definitely, I am excited for those of you who, on a regular basis, are willing to make changes and stride toward coming out of survival mode, not being caught up in doing the same thing over and over again because you think you have to, but finding a better way to live. So I am excited about everything that you all are doing, those things that I see when I scroll through my timeline, things that you have shared here in the group and with me personally. I am excited to see you all continue to grow. Keep in mind, we are here every Tuesday at noon for Lunchtime Love, Eastern Time, as well as Sundays. We have prayer and encouragement on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. And you can always still post your prayer requests if you still have them. All right. And as I always encourage you to do, reach out and love on someone today. It's going to help you as you help others. I'm Natasha L. Brown, and as always, remember that I love you and that self-love, self-compassion, self-care, and stepping out of survival mode are your superpowers. Have a beautiful week. Thank you for joining me.